Hey guys, in this video I'll show you how to create a simple postcard application using the new Jetpack Compose technology. If earlier we created the interface using the XML markup language, now we can do the layout of the interface and logic in the Kotlin language. Android Studio keeps up with the times because such technology is already implemented in SwiftUI, React Native, and Flutter. I think when you learn such a declarative approach to creating an interface, you will not go back to XML. If you are not yet ready to study Jetpack Compose, then the same application can be created using XML markup. I have already done this, so I will leave a link to create a postcard application using XML markup in the description of this video. Let's create a new project in Android Studio. Click New Project, and then instead of Empty Activity, we select Empty Compose Activity. Click Next. Let's name our application, for example, Congratulations, and click Finish. After our initial application has loaded, let's run it on the emulator. Let's see what the origin version of the application looks like. Instead of Hello World, we see Hello Android. And let's work with Jetpack Compose. Here we see the main activity, and the main activity code is different from the standard main activity that we see when we start the XML application. In the files, we see the UI folder, in which the theme folder is located. And here we have a color file with colors and theme file with theme. And here in the UI we will upload screen files if we create new screens. To use Jetpack Compose, we just need to write the composable annotation. This will mean that everything inside a function with composable annotation will use the Jetpack Compose technology. You will also see the preview annotation, which means that we can view this part of the interface without launching the application. Let's close the emulator, do split. We have loaded our interface, the text Hello Android, and thus we can control our interface without loading the application. It is very comfortable, especially if you have a large application that takes a long time to launch. And here you can track a separate screen. Let's start changing our code. Let's start by changing the name of our function. Instead of greeting, we will have, for example, the congratulation function. Note that we have two errors. To avoid this, it is better to change the name as follows. Right-click, then refactor, and then rename. And now we can change name of our function. When we change our name, all the names in the file change. Now there will be no error, and note that the name of the compose function must start with a capital letter. This is called Pascal case, same case as class names. Let's continue editing our application. Let's try changing the name. Instead of Hello Android, let's write some name. I will write Sergey. We update our preview, but the problem is that it has changed only in the preview. But if we run our application, the application will show us the Android name, because in the onCreate function we pass the Android value to the name parameter. Let's write Sergey here, and let's write Happy Birthday here. Our interface has automatically updated, and now we see our congratulations. Let's increase the size of our text. To do this, put a comma in brackets, write font size, select font size, and set the size. Let it be 30 point sp. We remember that for text, the size is in the text pixels in sp. Input, press Alt plus Enter, and to make it more readable, let's put the arguments on different lines. Move the closing parentheses below, and we get nice readable markup. Let's update the preview, and as we can see, our text has increased, what we were looking for. Now suppose we want to write this postcard from someone. To do this, we need to create a second text string. How to do it? I copy this text, and with Ctrl plus D, I duplicate it below. We can write directly in the code from whom, but this is not recommended. Let's pass the second parameter to our function from whom. We put a comma. Let's name the parameter from, and it's also of type string. Again, we have two arguments. Let's move them to different lines, and now we can assign the form variable to our text. Instead, this text type from, and let me do the same here, because it's not very good that here we also have all these spelled out in hardcore. Here we will assign the message variable to the text. We don't have a message variable, so let's change the name to message. Let's open the arrows, because we had an error. We have added a second argument to the birthday screen function, but we didn't include it here. Let's fix it, and I write from Larry P. Our error is gone, and on line 52 in the preview you also need to add from. Let's copy it from here, and we don't have any mistakes. Let's update the preview, and we see that our text overlaps each other. Copy it to preview. It's not very convenient that we copy the same text in two places, but in fact you can also enter arguments in the preview as in a regular function. We will do this later. Right now we have a more important problem. How do I split this text so it doesn't overlap? In order for the text to be in a column, we need to create this column. Let's write column, choose column. This is the main markup element of the Jetpack Compose. There is also the row element when you want to arrange the elements horizontally in a row. And now we need to move this text inside our column body, inside curly braces. Let's update and see what happens. The text is now positioned vertically, but we want it to be full screen, so that the line of congratulations is on top and the line from is on the bottom of the screen. We will deal with alignment and adding images in the next lesson. And now let's run the application. Let's see how it looks on the phone. On the phone too, everything is displayed as we intended. So until the next lesson. Good luck and all the best!